Hi, my name is Aaron. My presentation is about the radiation source monitor. And to give a little bit of background, I work for a company called Radiation Test Solutions. And what our company does is people send us parts that they want tested that could be going out into space or could be going into defense applications or various things where they'll be exposed to radiation. So whether it be cosmic background radiation or the gamma rays and X-rays given off as a nuclear bomb goes off, they want to know what happens as it's exposed to these different kinds of radiation. And so our company has several sources that are able to expose parts to this, and we're able to check for things like latch up and upsets and transient effects and all these different effects that can occur as all these parts are exposed to radiation. And so my task was to create an application to monitor these radiation sources. Now there was already something in place, but it was just basically a web page that was shown on a couple of tablets that ran through a Raspberry Pi. And so I rebuilt the application using some of the code that was in place and using some of my own code to send it over to an IoT server instead. It uses an API to send all the data that's gathered from those radiation sources. I think there's 7 of them now. Yeah, 7. And it sends it over to an IoT server, and then the app pulls from the IoT server. And I was able to develop this app using MIT App Inventor, which is a very cool program if you guys ever get the chance to play with it. It was much easier to learn my way around than Android Studio, and although perhaps not quite as powerful, it was able to do what I needed it to. So here's the application that I built, and this is currently running on all the tablets at Radiation Test Solutions as well. As you can see, it shows you various radiation sources, everything from low dose rate up to FX25 to whatever source is in use. And if it's red, that means that it's currently active. If it's green, that means it's not currently active. As well, there's a yellow for some of the things that have a standby. And so if you click on this, it gives you a little more information of when the last update was received, as well as whether sources are active or how long they've been up or down. So for example, low dose rate is usually up, but if someone has to go in there to change a part out or something, then we bring the source down, and this turns yellow or green. And it also, as soon as it changes color, it starts counting as well to say, hey, your source has been down for a minute, 2 minutes, 20 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. And that way, if you're walking around and you check and you're like, it looks like that's been up there a while, you can click on it and see, oh, well, Lotus has been down for 4 hours. I should go check in with the engineers that are running that and make sure that everything's okay there. As well, all of the data is sent over to the IoT server that I mentioned earlier through ThingSpeak. And the IoT server has MATLAB integration. And so you're able to use MATLAB in order to analyze all of this data that you've collected and to say, these are the times of day when we're exposing the most parts to X-rays, or when we're exposing the most parts to low dose, or when we have to do calibrations, and this is how long our calibrations took. And so it gives the company a lot more data to look at and to say, how could we use our time more effectively as we see the interactions that are occurring with all of these sources every day. Additionally, the application, I've built a version to go on that the employees are able to have. And so this is on just any employees that desire to have access to it or able to. It's obviously not deployed outside of the company, but it's got all of your sources again. And that way you can check if you get home and you're like, oh, did I remember to turn off the flash X-ray machine? And you can see, no, it still says it's in standby mode. It's not actually off. And so, or you can get home and you can see, okay, I did actually turn everything off, and I don't have to run back to the company to check and make sure that I did, did I leave the oven on when I left home kind of situation. And so this application does a lot of the things that the company wanted it to do. There's still one feature that I'm working on, and that's because we have another radiation source called the FX25 that's up the street. Now, I built a Raspberry Pi Zero W up with the software and everything, and included it into this app. So at this point, I just need to actually physically hook it up. There's been more pressing things to the company lately, so I haven't had the time to actually work on that. But that's where the project sits right now, and that's where it has the plan to go eventually. So thank you for listening.